Have you ever felt a strange pause when someone asks about your childhood? Not because it was traumatic, not because there's nothing to say, but because you feel like you somehow skipped 15 chapters of your own story. Somewhere between age 7 and 17, something got quietly taken from you. You never really learned how to be a kid. You learned to read people's emotions before you learned to read books. You learned to manage a room before you learned to manage your own feelings. And if you're the person who's always the most stable one in every crisis, but secretly exhausted on the inside, this video is made for you. In psychology, this experience has a name. It's called parentification. Dr. Lisa M. Hooper is one of the leading researchers on this phenomenon. She found that parentification is not real maturity. It is a survival mechanism. Your nervous system didn't grow up. It adapted. It learned to run in crisis mode as its default state, not as an emergency setting, as the permanent baseline. You weren't wise beyond your years. You were wired for survival. Today, we're going to break down 5 signs that you were a child who had to grow up too soon. And we'll see how that old internal operating system is still quietly running your adult life right now, without you even noticing. The first sign is a hypersensitive emotional radar. You could feel your parents' moods the second they walked through the front door. Before a single word was spoken, you knew when to go completely silent. You knew when to crack a joke to diffuse the tension in the air. You knew when to disappear entirely to avoid a conflict before it started. That skill didn't disappear in adulthood. It intensified. Today, when you walk into a room full of people, you don't just notice the furniture or the faces. You feel the emotional temperature of the entire space. You automatically track who is tense, who is upset, who might explode. You begin managing the stress around you before anyone asks. You soften conflicts before they begin. You smooth out rough edges in conversation before others even notice them. And the whole time, you feel like you're quietly drowning on the inside. This is called hypervigilance. Your nervous system became a sophisticated threat detection system in childhood. It protected you then. But now it runs constantly, even in safe environments, and it is absolutely exhausting. You don't get to simply enjoy a dinner party. You're working it. Here's a paradox that might feel very familiar. You can handle a massive crisis with a calm that genuinely surprises people. A sudden job loss, an unexpected move, a financial emergency. You go into clear-headed problem-solving mode, and you handle it. People look at you in disbelief. But the simplest thing in the world, doing absolutely nothing, feels almost unbearable. Sitting still feels wrong. A free afternoon with no tasks feels like standing on a trapdoor. Why does rest feel so dangerous? Because when you were small, stillness was dangerous. If you stopped moving and managing, things could fall apart. There was no adult to catch it. So you ran. You organized. You held it all together. Over time, you built a core belief that your worth is tied directly to your usefulness. Not to who you are, only to what you do. Dr. Hooper's research points to this directly. Parentified children often become adults who confuse productivity with safety. You stopped being a human being and became a human doing. And now resting feels less like recovery and more like abandonment. In relationships, you naturally become the lighthouse, the safe harbor, the rock that everyone else anchors to. You're drawn to partners who are emotionally unstable, unavailable, or in some kind of pain. And you feel most alive when someone genuinely needs you. This is not an accident. It's a deeply ingrained pattern. Being needed feels exactly like love, because it was the only version of love you were ever taught. Love meant giving endlessly without asking for anything in return. Love meant showing up, managing, fixing, and absorbing. Love was always outgoing, never incoming. So when someone offers you consistent, steady, uncomplicated affection, it feels strange. Something about it feels off. You find yourself waiting for the other shoe to drop, waiting for the moment things get complicated and you're back in a familiar role. Stable love feels foreign, and in the brain's logic, unfamiliar things feel unsafe. This is the quiet tragedy of parentification in adult relationships. You can receive love, you just don't quite trust it yet. People may describe you as a perfectionist, a type A personality, highly organized and detail-oriented. But here's the real story beneath those labels. It's not ambition driving that behavior. It's a deep, instinctive need to control every variable in your environment, because unpredictability once meant danger. Your brain learned early that small details can predict large disasters. A look on someone's face, a shift in tone, a door closed too hard. These were warning signals. So you started mapping everything. You still do. You can run through 17 different mental scenarios before making one small decision. You stay completely calm during genuine emergencies because you've always prepared for them. But you can spiral into real anxiety over something as minor as choosing the wrong seat at a restaurant. Because small details still carry old weight. That's not overthinking. That's a nervous system that was never given permission to stand down. It's still on duty. And it has been on duty for a very long time. This is the deepest sign. And it is the quietest one. It's a grief without a clear source. A sadness that surfaces when you watch kids playing freely. Or when you see a parent comfort a child through something small. You feel something tighten in your chest. A quiet ache for a version of yourself you can barely picture. That child was supposed to get to be messy. Supposed to make mistakes and still be loved without conditions. Supposed to be soft, uncertain, and small, and still held. But you had to give that up. Softness felt like a vulnerability you couldn't afford. So you hardened. You became the responsible one, the capable one, the dependable one. And somewhere in that process, a child got quietly left behind. That grief is absolutely real. Feeling it doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're honest. Letting yourself grieve that lost childhood is not weakness. It is the very beginning of coming home to yourself. To the child who had to grow up too fast, the one watching this right now. You did an extraordinary job. You held things together that should never have been yours to hold. You kept the world from falling apart with your bare hands. That took so much from you. But here's what I want you to hear. You don't have to run that program anymore. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to take up space without earning it first. You are allowed to simply exist, not as the fixer, not as the rescuer, not as the most stable person in the room, just as yourself. It is safe to just be. If this story feels like it was written about your life, drop the words "time to rest" in the comments below. It helps more people find this video, and it lets you know you're not alone. If you haven't already, hit subscribe. We break down everyday psychology in the simplest way possible, every single week. And if you've ever wondered why you genuinely prefer staying home alone over going to a social event, our next video explores exactly that. It's on your screen right now. I'll see you there.